First Minister, my question is, when you previously tried to pass the GRR bill, the Conservatives used Section 35 to block it.
Gender recognition, yeah.
Yeah, so you said it was a partisan move. So will you try again if Labour win? So not only as a woman, but as an advocate for men, let's be honest, men don't like to speak up about things that they might be embarrassed about. I'm very interested to know in safe spaces and if they're under threat again. Thank you.
Just give us your stance on this, Gillian, if you would.
I believe, and that's why I'm saying about men safe spaces. Everyone's safe spaces must be protected. So, you know, you say, like, obviously the example tends to be men going into women's changing rooms, but what happens if, you know, women en masse go into men's and there's men in there, clearly, who feel embarrassed, even if it's like, you know, somebody, if a woman goes in just because they can and even alleges something about a man, I think the safe spaces should be kept, you know, as that.
Let's focus on that. Let's focus on this. This has been a problematic and divisive issue for the SNP. Do you want to just answer Gillian's point, First Minister? Safe spaces.
Yeah. On the gender recognition reform bill, I'll come to the safe spaces in a moment if I might. But the gender recognition legislation was passed with support from members of all political parties in the Scottish Parliament, all 5 political parties, and the UK government decided to intervene on that. The courts looked at that question, and the courts found that the UK government had the right to stop that legislation. So I believe in the rule of law, so I accept that court judgment. The question then arises is whether the incoming Labour government would change the stance of the United Kingdom government. Now, I don't know what the answer to that question is. I think that's a matter for the incoming Labour government, which I expect to be in place on Friday. So they would be. It would be their decision as to what to do in that respect. In relation to safe spaces, I firmly believe, I want to give Gillian the reassurance that I believe that single-sex spaces and safe spaces must be protected. There is provision for that within the Equality Act 2010, which is a piece of UK legislation, and I want to make sure that those spaces are protected. And I certainly want to, I know Gillian's made comments about the position of men, and I understand that point, but I'd want to make it clear to women and girls that there is nothing that I would ever do that would jeopardise the safety of women and girls in the approach that we take to legislation.
OK, thank you very much. First Minister, how many genders are there?
Well, I think there'll be quite a debate about that, Nikki. You know, I think there are, but certainly from
what do you think?
My point of view, I recognise that. Well, I think in this debate, a woman is an adult born as a female, and they're also transgender women.
So, how many genders are there?
Well, I think people will debate and discuss that. From my point of view, you know, there's the male and the female gender.
Let's go to Matt.